Hello and welcome everybody to Have a Chat. It's a beautiful Monday here in Miramichi and we're at Roger's studio. And I'm your host for today's show, joined by my beautiful friend, relative, and co-host, Veronique Arsenault.
Hi, Judy. So glad to be here with you, of course, on a Monday. A cold one, though.
I know. But like I said, and everybody knows by now, we have a good chemistry, we work well together, and I enjoy my Mondays with you.
Yes, me too.
And thanks everyone for tuning in today. We're very happy that you join Have a Chat each Monday and throughout the week. So thanks for being here. And Veronique always, or I, start the week off with a quote. So you have one.
Yeah, so, we always, all of us do. It's something that we all do. We worry about what other people think sometimes, right? And how people are going to see us or think about us or whatever. But this quote I loved because it really kind of, jogged that mind to think, maybe it's okay to enjoy things and not worry about what people think.
How do I look today, though?
Stunning as always. Stunning as always.
Okay, throwing that in for fun.
So it is an anonymous quote, but it's one to think about as you go about your day. Okay. So sing like no one is listening, which I do.
I know.
Because nobody wants to hear me sing. Love like you've never been hurt. That one's harder. Mm-hmm. Dance like nobody's watching, and live like it's heaven on earth.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And I find lately there have been so many losses in our community of not just elderly, but young people that we have to embrace each day, as we keep saying, live for the moment. I do dance when nobody's watching, and I dance because it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
It releases endorphins, it's a little bit of exercise, it gives you a little lift for the day, and I just love to dance, but I know you love to sing.
Yeah, so I do. I will sing anywhere, anytime, anyhow. I should never, ever sing in front of anybody else because I am absolutely terrible, but I love it.
Yes.
And I sing with my whole chest, as they say, because it makes me so happy. It's always a concert in the car, featuring me, of course. Mm-hmm. I always sing lead when I'm in the car.
That's nice.
But I will dance in front of anybody, anytime.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, go Veronique.
Yeah, yeah.
So speaking of fun and living and celebrating, somebody's celebrating a special day today.
Yeah, he's going to kill me. So Dad is 77 today and, absolutely does not look like he's 77, nor does he act.
He's got energy.
Yeah, he has absolutely, he's full of energy, no question. And he, we haven't had him home in most of it, most of his years. He's been off all over the world. Doing the very best he can for people around the world. But we do have him home. We've had him home the last couple of years. He finally retired at the ripe old age of 75 and is now home and enjoying life and out there celebrating today. So if you do see Dad, please do wish him a happy birthday. As I said, he's 77 today, although he doesn't look it or act it.
Happy birthday, Roger. My brother-in-law, actually, my husband's brother-in-law. And he is so welcomed back here because he has so much to offer our community. He's involved in new groups such as Land Search and Rescue and helping out with the Legion and doing all kinds of wonderful things. And I think his training over the years when he's been serving our country and helping everybody around the world has kept him very limber and fit. And that just goes to show how physical exercise can lead you into the later years and make you feel and look maybe even half your age.
Yeah, Dad has always been about preventative medicine in keeping physical and active and, literally running around the jungle in Africa being chased by rebel groups. But, he and Ground Search and Rescue, he absolutely loves that group and loves that he gets to work with them often. And they were just out on a couple of searches not that long ago. So long days in the woods looking for people who are lost and really can't say enough good stuff about them. But it's been great for him and also with the local veterans groups that he's organized. Organizations that he's part of. So it keeps him active both in mind and in body.
So Roger Arsenault, we're wishing you, all of us here from Have a Chat and our viewers, a very happy 77th.
Yes.
I had a great week as far as entertainment went.
Yes.
I thought I'm going to embrace the opportunities that are around us in our community, and I attended Miramichi Christmas on Thursday evening at the Kin Center, which was written, produced, directed, and acted in by Frankie Corcoran, who I just absolutely adore. Yeah. And ironically, he wrote in the play about an elderly man who actually, it's past now, so not blowing any secrets of the play, it's done, who passes away on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And his grandmother passed away the morning of his opening show.
I know, I saw that.
Wasn't that something?
It's incredible. And he's so talented. I wasn't able to get to the show, but I heard so many amazing things about it, and he's so talented. We are so lucky in our area and across the province, really, to have this kind of artistic talent, and they come home and they put on these productions and they do incredible things for people's hearts and souls.
Yeah, and I love to support local. I know what it's like to do local theater, and we need every one person in that auditorium means support, and I value that every time I've done a production.
Yeah.
So Frankie did dedicate the whole 2 performances to his late grandmother, June Bowes, and it was heart aching at the time, but also very beautiful. Yeah. And then I went to see James M. Hill's production of Frozen.
Incredible.
And that was stellar. The acting was superb. The choreography was amazing. The young cast ranging from I think it was, Max Aiken Academy and King Street, all the little ones, right up to high school kids were involved. Yeah. Middle schools from both sides of the river. And of course, we know what they do with River Made Productions. I mean, Golpe at the helm.
Absolutely, they're incredible.
And Candace Curtis. And then the costumes were unbelievable. So Nancy Carter and Jill Wallace, just to give you a shout out on the costumes, and Elsa was beautiful.
You know what, I as you know, I am not an actress and absolutely am amazed by everything that people can do when acting, but I've heard so many good things. I'm going tonight.
Oh,
I have tickets, in hand for tonight. Really looking forward to it. But it's River Made Productions does some incredible work.
And you know what? It was a packed house. So can you imagine how successful that is when you have 590 people going through your auditorium? I think it's 5 different times during the week, and $20 a ticket, which goes to allows for them to have special effects and costumes. It's a huge undertaking.
And they had 2 shows yesterday.
Yeah, so big kudos to the team at River Made Productions and Frozen, and keep it up, young people. You're bringing a lot of joy to our world. And on another positive note, because we like to be positive on this show, we have some nice events coming up in the Miramichi area pre-Christmas.
Well, and this one is so special, and so our wonderful mayor, Jerry Cormier, back in the day, who passed away in 2016, I believe, 2015, 2016, used to love to sing, and he was an incredible singer, and so he was part of the Christmas concert every year that Susan Butler always made a massive production of, called A Christmas to Remember. So when Jerry passed, left a big void in our community, absolutely, Susan then dedicated it in his memory moving forward. So this year is going to be the 24th Christmas to Remember in memory of Jerry Cormier. So it's happening on Sunday, December 4th at 2 p.m. At St. Mary's Church. So it will be a free will offering. So whatever it is that you want to bring and donate as far as donations, and it goes to Women's Transition House and the St. Mary's Christmas Hamper.
Oh, very good.
Amazing.
Wonderful causes.
Yeah.
So I know the people really plan hard for that concert. It's always well attended, and it really gets you in the mood for Christmas, and it also honors the great late Jerry Cormier, who happened to be one of my favorite people.
Yeah, and schools participate in local singing groups, and like it's just amazing.
I miss that,
I
man.
Can't wait, I know.
And now another wonderful thing coming up is Miramichi Local Helpers is having a big Christmas market happening on Sunday, December 4th from 10 to 3 at the Exhibition Pavilion at 24 Church Street. That's Miramichi East. There will be many local vendors, homemade crafts, baked goods, sweets and treats, and lots of fun. Tickets are $2 each.
Oh,
my.
So you can go to the market in the morning and then go to the concert in the afternoon?
Yes, it's going to be a day of celebration and giving back and having fun. Yeah. And you can win a huge basket of crafts. Ooh. And all proceeds raised go to the food bank. Perfect.
Amazing.
And photos with the lovely Kim Harris from 10 to noon will take place. Yep. And also from 12:30 until 3 p.m.
We talk about it all the time, but all of this is put on by volunteers.
Oh, I know.
Like, that is amazing. Every weekend there's something, and every weekend it's put on by other volunteers. Yeah. Volunteers are amazing.
And we love it, you and I. So we know what goes into it, and we appreciate our fellow volunteers out there. I have to say, you're wishing your dad a happy birthday. It's all about family today for us. I want to say that I'm so proud of my brother, Bruce Hallahan, for having won on the weekend the New Brunswick Sports Award 2022 for outstanding media coverage. I'm bursting with pride. I think there's a fine line between bragging and pride, and you know, it's hard to do one without the other sometimes, but hey, it is what it is, and he's earned his way. So Bruce has been a reporter for 35 years, beginning with his hometown Miramichi Leader and weekend papers in 1987 before joining the Daily Gleaner sports staff in 1988. And he was promoted to sports editor in 2011 and branched out to also write news, business, and human interest stories over the past 5 years. Bruce is a 2-time Atlantic Journalism Award recipient, earning gold in 2015 and silver the following year. And in 2020, he was honored with the Fred Zambati Media Award for Canadian University sports coverage, becoming only the 6th winner from Atlantic Canada in the 50-year history of the National Award. Kudos, Bruce.
Amazing, Bruce. Amazing. We love Bruce, and we had him on the show right after that award, and it was so wonderful to have him talk about that and his incredible career.
Dedication.
Yeah.
And it's a hard business.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
You know, and there's been cuts and, writer shortages and all of the above. And he just plugs away and he loves doing what he does.
He's very gifted at what he does. And we are very proud of Bruce. And it's okay to boast a little bit.
Yeah.
It's okay to brag a little
I don't like
bit.
it about myself. I don't like to, but if it's about somebody else,
absolutely,
I love to bring it on.
Congratulations.
So the good news is that, changing wheels here, Jay Leno is on the recovery.
That was incredible.
I love Jay Leno.
Yeah, you know what? He fascinates me because of his car collection, to be honest with you. And
wow.
I mean, you know, gifted comedian as well, and late night talk show host, of course. But yeah, his car collection fascinates me.
And he is on the mend after sustaining serious burns to his face, hands, and chest. He is recovering. His doctor, the plastic surgeon. Just to back it up for a moment, he was in his garage working on his 1907 white steam car. Imagine 1907 vehicle when the gasoline erupted and burned him. But his plastic surgeon in Burbank, California, where he resides, Jay Leno, said that he is doing well. He's in a hypercerbic chamber.
Okay, yeah. Hyperbaric?
Hyperbaric is the word. Hyperbaric chamber. So what that does when he goes in twice daily, it decreases the swelling of his face, which sustained quite considerable burns. It also oxygenates your tissue to help it heal. And it also decreases the bacteria, which is very common to burns and wounds as such. So they said, his expert doctor there, that they expect him to be home eventually and maybe even get back to doing what he loves to do, and that's pop on sets here and there on TV and work on his cars and all of the above.
Wow. Well, and how terrifying that must have been. I can't even imagine. And I know that they've done so much now to advance healing of burn accidents and things like that. I know that there's a lot happening with fish skin. To when they apply that as a skin graft, and I guess it heals a little bit better.
Good to know.
Yeah. So there's so much happening with that, but I'm glad that he is on the mend, and must have been incredibly terrifying, but of course he has access to the best care, which is wonderful.
It could have been really, really much worse. And Tim Allen, I didn't realize that Tim Allen was such a good friend of his, and that Jay Leno had been doing little stand-in. He's been on the set of Home Improvement over the years.
Okay.
And the really funny thing was, Tim Allen, he's funny anyway.
Yes.
He said, you know, his face wasn't so great to start with, making a joke, right? Yeah. And that was a joke because apparently Jay Leno found that very funny. But he said, no, he's got a lovely face and a very positive attitude, and he's good. So just before we go to our break and before we welcome our first guest, Ernie, did you watch the Grey Cup?
So it's a tradition in our family. It's always around Dad's birthday. So big Grey Cup watchers in our family. So great game yesterday. The Toronto Argonauts won in a nail biter. So it was back and forth and back and forth. There were some errors that happened, but great game overall. And Toronto Argonauts are the Grey Cup champions for 2022.
Well, congrats to them for anyone that's a fan of theirs. And do they have entertainment? I don't watch it, so do they have?
Yeah, I didn't watch.
No.
They do halftime and everything, but I didn't watch this year. Not halftime like the Super Bowl, but they do have all that stuff that happens around. We've been to. Dad and I have actually been to the Grey Cup in person in Ottawa, and had a phenomenal time.
I know you're quite the adventuresome girl, Veronique. And just really quickly, it is the Thanksgiving Remembrance Day.
Absolutely. It's, Thanksgiving in the U.S. So there'll be Thursday is Turkey Day.
I said Thanksgiving Remembrance Day.
It's okay. It was close.
Yeah. Thanksgiving in U.S.
Yeah, Thanksgiving in the U.S. So Turkey Day on Thursday, and then Black Friday shopping for everybody on Friday.
And Thanksgiving is one of your all-time favorite occasions.
I love Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I love it.
Before we go to break, what's the one thing, just right off the top of your head, that you're most thankful for?
My family.
Your family, me too.
Yeah.
Family's everything.
Absolutely.
And so when we're reaching out to people in the holidays, remember that some people don't have a family, that the family has either passed away, or if you're an elderly person and they don't have children or whatever. So please be kind and reach out.
Absolutely.
And we're gearing up to the holidays too.
Yeah.
And I'm slow to gear up.
Yeah, me too. I don't feel like it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a really interesting show lined up today. But we have another couple of 2 minutes to break.
Okay.
But I just think that we should be talking perhaps about, just in the last 2 minutes, because we're not going to get a chance to, about what you want to do this Christmas in the way of giving, Veronique.
Yeah, so not big gift givers with mom and dad. Have done a couple of things there, but actually got to spend some time yesterday with some other volunteers with Socktober.
Oh,
yes, and that's the piece that's gonna actually they're giving those to other people. So Socktober, very quickly.
Yep.
Ray, the call out went across the city for the women's church groups from all churches.
Yep.
And people donated 7,222 pairs of socks.
Repeat.
7,222 pairs of socks. And those are going to go to the food bank, Salvation Army, to Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Club, different the hostel, Harvest House.
Yep.
Just so many different organizations are going to get socks, because that and underwear are the two things that are most requested for people who cannot afford them.
No, and the season's upon us. The cold is here, and somebody was saying, when they have so many homeless people in our area, what would be more essential? Well, of course, a coat, but the feet.
Yeah.
Right, to keep your feet warm.
Absolutely.
I want to give a big shout out to, I know Paula Truman and Linda Morris were the co-instigators, co-organizers of this whole initiative. And so thanks to everybody who donated socks. And I love socks, and it's a great gift too.
Yeah.
But so it was hugely successful.
Yeah.
And we want to say that if you want to give to anybody in the community, there's always somebody to give to, including the food bank, who is always, always in need of food.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. No question. And of course, the need goes up at this time of the year. There's the Christmas hampers through the Salvation Army and other organizations. So lots of opportunity to pitch in.
So we're going to be right back, folks, with a well-known gentleman, to me and Veronique, and maybe some of you. Go grab a coffee. Come back and join us very soon. Welcome back to Have a Chat. Once again, I'm your host for today's show, joined by my beautiful co-host, Veronique Garcineau.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure to be together. And we have our first guest. Actually, I've invited him to stay on for the whole show today because there's so much to talk about. It's actually my husband, Dr. Gerard Loger, and I don't have to tell you about him because I know everything about him, and Veronique as well. But for those people, Gerard, who do not know you out there, and most probably do, tell us a little bit about yourself personally.
From Miramichi, moved here, went to St. FX after high school and Dalhousie Medical School, and then came home and met my beautiful wife, and here ever since. Third generation physician. Father was a physician, grandfather a physician, and proud to be a physician and proud to help medically with the Miramichi.
And don't forget our two lovely sons.
How could I? Yeah, one son is finishing his cardiology degree. Yeah. My oldest son and my youngest son is in law school, and we are the proud parents.
Yeah, and healthy, and so far so good, and turned out to be pretty good kids.
There's so of course my uncle, my Uncle Gerard, but there's a plaque on Waterford Green that has a picture of my great grandfather, who would be your grandfather, and it said that he established his medical practice here in 1909, and that there has been a Dr. Loge in practice since 1909 here in the river.
Well, that makes me feel really proud.
Yeah.
And it should make you feel proud of you also, Gerard. A lot of medicine put in those years.
I know, hard to imagine, but when you think back, Gerard, over your career and your lifetime, what have been some of the biggest challenges that you've faced, but also some of your greatest achievements?
Medicine is challenging both for physicians and for the government to try to provide the best possible care to patients. And, we've had our challenges over the years. They're ranging from various things. I've been here 40 years in practice now.
40?
Yes.
Gosh, I'm married to an old man.
This July, I was 40 years in practice. I came home and worked with my dad, and unfortunately, as you know, he died just in January of that year, so I stayed home.
1983.
Originally thought I'd like to go into a specialty practice, but stayed here and met Judy, and things happened ever thereafter.
Yeah.
There's been lots of challenges over the years, but overall the quality of care that the patients get compared to when I started 4 years ago is substantially better. Life expectancy is longer, and even though we're faced with so many challenges today with overcrowding at the hospital and staffing shortages, etc., the quality of care that patients get today is certainly better.
What are some of your biggest achievements, do you think, Gerard?
In various aspects. Thanks for asking. I've been involved in the Miramichi in particular when there was an effort to downgrade us to a community hospital, fighting for that in 2002, trying to canvass for the MRI, which we finally got here, and we're very proud of it, canvassing for the nursing home, and also additionally through our foundation providing telestroke, ultrasound equipment, and also supporting local foundations, especially that give medical care to our area, like the Josie Foundation, and additionally other projects that are not known publicly that we've supported that promote health in the Miramichi.
So he kind of covered my question, because I was just going to ask you to focus a bit about the Loge Foundation that you established and when you established it, and just that it does do really great things for the community, and it's certainly a way to give back to so many people out there. Like the Josie Foundation now, as he alluded to, is a foundation that gives any incoming money to put towards people who are suffering from long-term chronic illness and are really, really hard-pressed to get to those treatments, perhaps because of lack of funds, or to gas their car up, or even have groceries. So that's really near and dear to our heart.
Yeah, the Josie Foundation started by, of course, our MP Jake Stewart, and in honor of his grandmother. So, family, of course, connected there as well, and you've been great contributors to that. And the foundation, so when did you start that foundation, Gerard, for the Dr.
Our
Gerard?
foundation was started in 2016, and it's a foundation that tries to promote healthcare. Not totally in the Miramichi, but it has been focused totally on the Miramichi since its incorporation. And we've donated, basically millions of dollars to various aspects of healthcare in our region. Most recently, what we're trying to focus on is the hospice.
Yes, but just to back up before that, I think it's kind of important to know that some of the tools that the people at the hospital are able to use are in part thanks to what you've donated. So again, the telestroke machine, you might want to touch on what the advantages are of that, and also the ultrasound machines, that what they can do for patients.
Yeah, well, if you look at through the hospital, we've done recently the Marjorie Loge Geriatric Clinic. Our foundation donated $500,000 to that. And the purpose of that clinic was to provide better geriatric care in the Miramichi, and you know yourself because you were your mother was cutting the ribbon.
Oh my gosh, she was so proud.
So she was so excited to do that.
Yeah.
And that clinic now is functional, and it's been functional for a number of years, but the government, due to delays in COVID, never officially opened it. And recently our Premier Higgs came and opened it, and we were so proud of that. So we have a geriatrician coming, Ben Glickstein. He was here earlier, and he's coming back to the Miramichi. Moved back to England, with his wife, but apparently they like the Miramichi better, so they're moving back.
They were very welcome
Don't
here,
blame
and
a
they
very, very smart man.
Yeah.
And it's also there with Michelle Casey, who is a family physician who specializes in memory. So she's there, and that clinic offers a whole host of things. It offers assessment for Alzheimer's, for vascular dementia, and additionally driver's assessments and assessments for physio, etc. It's probably one of the nicest geriatric clinics in the province, I think.
Yeah,
it's a really beautiful place.
We were so proud, so proud.
Also, the telestroke machine, which we donated to the hospital, is a machine. So if you come in to the hospital and you have a stroke, you can get instant access to a neurologist anywhere in the province. It assesses whether you need thrombolysis, which is clot buster. And that the urgency of that is important, because if you don't get your stroke treated immediately, then you end up with permanent paralysis, which delays your care. You end up in hospital for prolonged periods of time, may never get out of a hospital, may need to go to a nursing home. So it's really important to get that expedited quickly when you have the signs and symptoms of a stroke. So you should go to the hospital immediately. And the idea is to get the thrombolysis in within 1 hour at the latest.
What about the ultrasounds? The purpose of those? They were short on them, or you just had the need to give more to the hospital?
It was a need, but also they're short. The ultrasound machine, I think it was $55,000. And what that does is allow the emergency room physicians to access patient diagnosis more correctly by seeing if they have a collapsed lung, or fluid on their lung, or heart failure, or fluid in their belly. And also it's to deploy advanced intravenous lines that's used for that, for deployment of those. It's really an excellent tool, and it provides, it's the next generation. You can think of an ultrasound machine as the stethoscope of the 21st century, because it evaluates properly heart function, arterial narrowing, fluid that a stethoscope wouldn't have years ago. So it's the next century's treatment.
Really,
that's really
phenomenal.
Nice that the foundation has been put in place, and that, like he said, so much can be done with all the things he just mentioned.
Absolutely. So I, as I travel around the river every day, I get to drive by, of course, our Loge family home, but also the new state-of-the-art hospice facility. I every time I drive by it, I get a little surge of pride, of course, for a whole lot of reasons. But tell us all about that and what you've done there, and that piece. Tell us about the hospice building.
Yeah, well, thanks very much, Veronique, for bringing that up. We started in 2018 with an association with Hospice Miramichi to build a standalone hospice in the Miramichi, an 8-bed facility, which we had completed in basically in the spring of this year. Finished, approved by the Miramichi to open the fire marshal, etc., and it's a standalone facility. Unfortunately, at that point, Hospice Miramichi felt that they didn't want to carry on a relationship with the Loge Foundation, and left the relationship. And I won't get into the details of all that, but they left. So we were stuck from our foundation with this beautiful, incredible building that's ready to be opened and that the Miramichi deserves. And so we went ahead and we canvassed people in the Miramichi to form a board, independent now, called Percy's Place.
Nice.
And we have a board of 8 individuals of well-known Miramichiers under Percy's Place, and Percy's Place has become incorporated for the purposes of hospice care. And so our foundation has put basically about $5.5 million into this facility. It's incredible, and as I said, it's a standalone facility. The public have donated about 4% of that cost, and we want to thank all of those people who have done donations for that. That's an incredible opportunity that they've taken, and we're so proud of all those people, and we have recognized them many, many times. And so that's where we're at. So we formed our board. We have applied for operational approval to the Department of Health and the government. we have met with the Premier twice, the Minister of Health twice, and we applied for that in July of this year, but we still haven't heard whether or not we have the operational approval. So that's sort of where we're at. We are also ready to open within a month's notice. We'd be ready to go. So let me just briefly tell you a little bit about or you can ask questions about it if you want.
Well, I've been in it, and it is a standalone facility. And as far as I understand, it would serve not just the Miramichi and surrounding areas such as Niguac, Burnchurch, Rogersville Basin, and First Nations communities, etc. It would be the only hospice, basically, in northern New Brunswick.
That is totally correct, Judy. It is. There are hospice facilities which are standalone. Bobby's Place in St. John, and Fredericton has one in the hospice for the Greater Moncton area, which are, again, standalone. They're not hospital facilities, they're not nursing home facilities. They are standalone, independent facilities, which try to give dignity to dying people that can live their final days in a beautiful surrounding, confidential place where family can visit, and they're not in overcrowded emergency room, overcrowded surgical or medical floors. In a hospital where, in Region 7 hospital, we have 4 palliative beds. It's on a floor where there's 20 some other patients who have dementia, who are wandering in and out of the unit. So it's really, a place dedicated to that dignity on the patients who unfortunately are reaching the end days of their life.
Much more private, and the location, I mean, you want, like the vision that Gerard had was to be able to have those people in there receiving palliative care, look out and see water and have beautiful surroundings. I mean, that means so much. When I die, I would want to be in a place such as that, where I could have my family come, which it allows for. So if my aunt was in there, or my mom, or I was in there, I could have family members come and be with me and actually stay the night with me, because there are rooms there to serve, like cozy rooms where you can be one-on-one and have nobody, taking up your space of your quality time. It's quite beautiful, and it's elaborately finished.
And it's an opportunity to free up some space in the hospital as well.
It is, Veronique. The hospital, like all hospitals in New Brunswick, are suffering from severe overcrowding. In the emergency room, the last few days, we've had 12 to 15 extra patients in the hospital. We're understaffed. We are in a situation where there's constantly overhead noise saying overcrowding in the emergency room, can you help? And those are situations where palliative patients come in and there's no room upstairs to put them. I think last week there were something like 8 to 11 palliative patients in the hospital, and there's only 4 palliative beds in the hospital.
4 palliative beds in total?
In the whole hospital. So there are patients that are meeting their demise in the emergency room, on surgical floors, on medical floors, and those too, they're restricting family access because of COVID rules. So the family can't come in many cases. It's really a challenging situation. So we see this as an opportunity. We've proposed a public-private relationship with the government, which is consistent with the relationship they have with the 3 other hospices in the Golden Triangle. And we would like to move forward very quickly to meet the needs of the Miramichi, and we're eagerly awaiting approval from the provincial government.
Well, let you say that. I mean, why wouldn't it be Miramichi if the other 3 communities, larger areas, have it, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, we have a large number population which reaches here and beyond up north to fill that hospice immediately.
Yeah.
Well, and something so critical too about hospice that I've learned is that the staff there is specially trained for palliative situations in that end of life care, right? And that's what we want and need.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I know when I had relatives in the hospital, an aunt in particular in Region 7 in palliative care, the nurses were just exceptional.
Oh, incredible.
And there are so many wanting to do hospice care that they they're, like Gerard said, they want to be with that person and offer that dignity and that loving relationship from nurse to patient, and they're ready to do so. And I know there's all kinds of people looking for work right now that could fill that space. So I'm just eager, and like I said, why do we in Miramichi not deserve the exact same as the other hospices in the other parts of the province are receiving?
The board of Percy's Place, it is as I said, a well-known group of individuals. The board chair is Greg Berry from Real Estate, and
everybody knows Greg.
He's helped me from the initial proposal in 2018. He and Dave Cosman with the development of this project. They are exceptional, and I want to say they are eager to get this relationship going with the government. So, what's the holdup, really?
So we're going to come back to you, Gerard. We're going to talk more hospice. We're going to talk more hospital, healthcare, just after the break. So Veronique and I, Gerard, encourage you to come back, grab a little something to hold you over for the next 18 minutes, but we're coming back very soon to share. Hello, I'm Judy Loge with Have a Chat, your host for today's show, joined by the effervescent Veronique Arsenault, who I spend every Monday with, pretty much.
It's all the sugar.
It's the sugar and Halloween leftovers still. We've been having a great, candid conversation and laying facts out on the table with Dr. Gerard Loge, who happens to be my husband and Gerard's uncle, so we all know each other very well, and it's all about healthcare. And at this particular time, we're talking about the dire need for hospice, which Gerard has built and put in place through the Dr. Gerard and Judy Loge Foundation. It's ready to go. It's a state-of-the-art facility, and we've been talking all about it and how vital it is to get that opened. Veronique, you had a question for Gerard.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, I know why we've chosen the name, but when we talk about Percy's Place, why was it so important for you to name it that?
Well, Percy, as you know, is your grandfather, Veronique, and I was always inspired by everything he did when I was a child, going on house calls with him since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, and I just appreciated everything he did from healthcare, and the greatest respect for my father. That's why I went into medicine, because of him.
What a nice legacy to live.
Yeah,
wouldn't he be so proud? And he and his wife Marjorie, after having 7 children and raising such a beautiful family, they'd be really thrilled, I'm sure, about that. Gerard, we were talking all about hospice and getting it opened, but I'm curious as to what the local medical advisory committee thought. Like when you met with them, your colleagues and physicians, what they thought. And did they approve of this hospice?
Recently at the local medical advisory committee, which is the medical staff at Region 7 Hospital, unanimously approved a motion to go to the provincial RMAC, the Regional Medical Advisory Committee, which then would go to Horizon's board, and then hopefully to the Ministry of Health in the government, to urgently open Percy's Place for palliative care. Immediately.
Well, they see the need. Like he said earlier, if you missed the show, that there are only 4 beds in palliative care, and we are the only standalone hospice that that serves inpatients, like a facility that actually allows you to come in, have the nurses come in, and not just an outreach service. That's what's so important about this, that you can actually stay there and make it your home, and have your life lived out there in a beautiful surrounding with the best of care.
It's such a difficult time in people's lives, right? And having been into the facility, it has that feeling of warmth, in a time when you need that most,
Not sterile and that hospital setting. I'm nothing against you, because I know you come home sounding like the hospital sometimes, but that little bit of intimidation everyone feels when they go into a hospital, it has a feeling of hominess to it.
Well, it's incredibly difficult to be in the hospital as a patient, and the staff is doing so much work, and it's been a while since I've been in the hospital, thankfully, but when my gallbladder blew up in 2018, there was 3 of us in Emerge in one room,
Yeah.
in that situation, and none of us wanted to be there. And I know the staff was doing everything they could to get us, moved through that area and into appropriate areas. So, having a place for people who in end of life care can go to and be taken care of in the best possible dignified way, as you said earlier, is amazing.
In a lovely, quiet surrounding, like you said, no hustle, bustle, interference from other things going on, like people coming in on stretchers and all of that. It would just be, it's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, one question though, so if we don't manage to get this moving and open, what happens?
Well, the board of Percy's Place has applied for provincial, operational status, but really they also have applied for funding consistent with the other 3 hospices, which are in New Brunswick, the Fredericton, St. John, and Moncton, if that does not happen, we'll have to go private and open it as a private hospice. And I can't see how they can stop us. But I propose, and I can't see why they wouldn't want this private-public relationship, because that's what they're promoting. That's what they want.
That's right.
So, and also it exists in Moncton, Fredericton, and St. John already. So why not do it?
Do you know what I find so sad? Not from having talking to my husband, obviously, because everything's a top-notch patient confidentiality when it comes to medical doctors, and I don't ever ask, and he would never relay personal information. But I know people that have died, like as Gerard said, in the hospital that would have loved to been in Percy's Place. They, and the family side just wish right now that it was open, because my child or my husband, my wife, would have been perfectly happy and content to have been in there with us as a family, having palliative care services by those nurses that are so well trained. And so you must see at the hospital, Gerard, people that you're saying, oh my gosh, if only the government would just say, go ahead, get it opened, and I could put some of these people that you see on a daily basis that are dying, and maybe not even, they could be in there for oxygen problems that need like 6, 7, 8 months of help in the Percy's Place.
Yeah, Judy, you're absolutely correct. And who wants to be dying in the emergency room? Who wants to be dying on a surgical floor?
No.
Who wants to be dying on a medical floor where there's understaffing and inappropriate staff ratios? Although the nursing care and the care that's offered by the Region 7 hospital is second to none.
Excellent.
The problem is there's staffing shortages.
Right.
We're focusing on staff appropriately for this clientele, and we're eager to get going. So I don't understand the delay personally.
You must get heartbroken when you see these people that could benefit from, and like we're all dying, right? Let's just face it. Every one of us at this very moment is dying because life's going by, minutes are ticking by, and I'm 61, and I think, I could have 30 years, I could have 1 year, who knows? So you go in there, as I'm just saying, we're all dying. You could be in that hospice for a few months. You could be in there for longer. It's just, who knows when your time, but you know the point when they need to be admitted to a hospice, and the family does.
A lot of time, with the population pyramid being inverted now, there's fewer people at home to look after terminally ill patients. In the 1960s, there were, the ratio was 4 to 1. There were 4 people to look after 1. Now we're coming up to 2 to 1. And so many, as you know, of the houses around here, there's only one person living in it. When they get sick or terminally ill, the house is empty and they have to go to the hospital to be looked after for their terminal care. And it's led to overcrowding, dementia, many other conditions. Advanced multi-system disease have led to that situation where there's overcrowding, not only in Miramichi, but New Brunswick worldwide, really. It's a problem, at least in North America, because of the aging. So we're trying to provide a exit from that chaos that exists in the hospital to a facility that's dedicated, a standalone facility that's dedicated to end-of-life care. A beautiful facility.
Well, and your driving force, Gerard, has always been, and we saw it, behind the MRI, behind the nursing home, behind hospice now, is about patient care. Right, and when Shanex opened up the beautiful Loge Hall, it was incredible because that focus on patient patient care, and getting those people out of the hospital setting, right? That has always been your driving force, regardless of the noise and whatever government may be at that particular time. And that's what I've always been so proud of with you, is that it is about patient care.
Always.
And that is the critical piece to remember here, is about patient care and what you've dedicated your life to, and what Grandpa did and great-grandpa did, and now, of course, my cousins and your son and others in the family. So it's really, and of course your brother as well, Arthur. So it's about patient care and giving them the best possible time and outcomes, whatever that may be. And we've talked about that for, everyone's care, including my mother's and my father as we progress, right? So that's what's really important to remember here, and the driving force behind you is that it's about the patient.
One thing I found a little bit interesting, it kind of came through, was that the government's saying, the hospital's emptying out. And so, they go out and then they're into the palliative care and then it's filling up again. But it doesn't even make sense, because the same thing's happening in Moncton, St. John, and Fredericton, right?
You're absolutely correct.
So could you just talk to that? Because that's something I think is absolutely a vital point, is that we are the very same as other places. If the hospital has 8-7 patients leave, go to the hospice, and then the hospital is filled up again. Well, it's happening everywhere.
That concept that taking those patients out of the hospital would they just fill the beds up is really erroneous on their part. Because when you think of it, we're talking about dignity and dying for those patients, which they are offering in Moncton, Fredericton, and St. John, and not in the Miramichi. And these patients, the patients in the emergency room and the patients at Region 7 Hospital are not patients that don't have to be there. Let me make that clear. I've worked in healthcare in the last 40 years, and I've gone through many CEOs at our facility always saying, are the doctors admitting patients inappropriately? And I would argue that's never the case. Patients that are in the hospital have to be in the hospital. There is no other choice. So by taking those patients with palliative needs out of the hospital, that will save some of the stress on the overworked staff in the hospital and move them to the appropriate situation and building where they should be.
Is there anything key? We have about probably 5 minutes to share with you, Gerard, on this whole topic, but is there anything else you want to drive home to our viewers? I mean, we do have some other questions we can ask you, but in case we don't have time, what are some drive home points you want to make?
Again, this is a standalone facility consistent with Moncton, Fredericton, and St. John. It's not a nursing home. No. It's not a hospital. It is a building that was built and designed to be an end-of-life palliative care unit. I believe it's one of the nicest palliative care units you're going to see anywhere, perhaps in North America. It's ready to open. The government, we're hoping they act on this soon. Please act.
Well, I do know, having spoken to many people in the community, that this is what they want.
Yeah.
They have, like Gerard said, whether, he's put so much money into this through our foundation, $5.5 million to date, but, if someone contributed $10 or $100, it's still a beautiful donation, which goes to say that we think our money is going to the right place. We want it to be at Percy's Place for that hospice.
The Miramichi deserves this.
They have, and you're forceful about that. You just said it with venom. So
it's about patient care.
It's about patient care.
Yeah. Well, and when we see that just in healthcare in general, not just here in New Brunswick, but across the country and in North America, everywhere, we are at a critical juncture right now. We have staff shortages, incredible staff that are doing everything that they can every day. We have overcrowding. There needs to be some solutions. This is a solution for this particular challenge right now, and there are others, right? We talk about, taking better care of ourselves in preventative medicine, like our flu shots and COVID shots and all of that. But this is a solution to one of the problems. There are many others, but you have proposed and brought solutions to others. So this is phenomenal to see, and I'm looking forward to when we cut that ribbon.
Is there anything that the viewers can do to help get this going, to help get this opened up ASAP?
I would like them to talk to their local representatives to urgently open this facility. Again, if they don't approve the operational certificate or whatever, we can go ahead and open it privately, but that's not consistent with what they have already done in Moncton, Fredericton, or St. John. Why should we be different?
You want a partnership.
Yeah.
This is about a public-private partnership, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Veronique, I want to just briefly go back to your grandfather and the naming of Percy's Place. As you know, Medicare came in late 70s, that your grandfather, when I went in childhood, was treating many patients for nothing. I remember when I came home and the year he died, going through the office, looking through bills that were never paid. Yeah. I remember people coming up after delivering 7 of their kids with a cigarette can with silver quarters in the can. Yeah. I remember a lady walking up on the front lawn at the house saying, "I'm ready for the delivery," with no prenatal care because there was no Medicare. There are so many things, we are gifted right now to have the government sponsoring health care, and even though we can complain about the various aspects, having the government sponsoring Medicare, I think it was by Tommy Douglas in Manitoba, Keith Sutherland's grandfather, whatever. That was the start of it all. So we are definitely getting medical care consistent with the needs, but the overcrowding and that is a problem.
It is. Jared, I just want to take this opportunity as your wife, and I want the viewers to know how much heart and soul you've given to putting everything into this hospice. Your days are long. I know that. I live with you. Your days are given to your patients and the love for them. And, you do so much on the side. But as a person who does this as a volunteer, Veronique and I are both volunteers, and you have volunteered your heart out to make Percy's Place possible for our community to have. And I've seen them come home after maybe a day that ends at 6 o'clock to go up to the hospice and talk to the architect or talk to the constructionists or can talk to painters or whatever. I just want to say thank you for that. Yeah. And my parents, thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Judy. The name's going to be up very shortly on the building out front, or hopefully by the end of the week.
And I'm so proud of the location. Tell everybody what the number is. It's 1298 Water Street, just exactly close by to where Gerard grew up.
Yeah.
We have about 1 minute left. Any last thoughts? Anything?
Get your flu shot this year. The hospital is invaded by COVID still. It's invaded now with influenza A. Wear your mask when you're out in the public. Please, chase after your immunization.
Absolutely.
I did have mine.
Me too,
because
actually.
If I didn't, he'd chase me around the house with a needle.
No, I had my flu shot 2 weeks ago, so absolutely. And it's one of those yearly things that I do.
Because people haven't, gotten their flu shot for the last few years, and now they're taking their mask off. We're going to be hammered really hard by influenza A.
Well, we've been so protected for so long. Right now that everything's coming at us, people aren't wearing their masks. It's just we're just walking petri dishes.
And there's another aggressive virus following the news, the RSV virus.
Right on. Yeah. Thanks everybody for joining Veronique and I and Dr. Gerard Logier for today's show. It's been a pleasure to have you inform us all about what you've been up to, what's coming in the new hospice, and embrace this, everybody. It's exactly what Miramichi needs. So thank you to Veronique, and thank you for tuning in. Come back next week. We'll have more Have a Chat. Bye, everybody.